All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Coffee Break Chat. It is October 28th. Imagine that. And with us, as always, we have Jay, and we have a special guest. Would you please introduce yourself, young lady in the red, and tell us your pronouns and what it is you do?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Jenna Kuerzi. She, her ish. I am an actor, director, person on the internet now in Philadelphia and beyond. But I'm really excited to be here with you, James.
I'm really excited to have you here. Awesome. Hey, Arden C. Oh, you're muted. I think that is the phrase of 2020.
Right?
Oh, you're muted. Yeah.
Oh, you're muted. We're welcome everybody on the internet. Everybody say hi to Abigail. Sorry, she's all up in everybody's face. It's okay. She's allowed to be on the internet. I think we just got notification that from her vet that she is now a elderly cat.
Wow.
I don't think she's really elderly. I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
It's just like age is just a number, man.
So yeah, that's Abigail. She's not usually a guest on the Coffee Break Chat because she usually doesn't come up this close to the desk. She has a sister, Dolly, and Dolly kind of gets in her way. Yeah? Okay. Welcome to the Coffee Break Chat. We have our special guest, Jenna, and she's here with Depp Impact podcast. Tell us about Depp Impact.
Sure. So I started this solo-ish show with my co-creator, Val Dunn, who's a Philadelphia playwright, and we wrote a play called Johnny Depp, a retrospective on late-stage capitalism. And I played Johnny Depp, and we went through his entire career, starting from the beginning to the end, to show how he's declined in quality, much like our current capitalist society. So, of course, with live theater being shut down, I decided to pivot my show, and I was still watching all of his movies in an attempt to pass the time, but I decided to sort of funnel that energy into a podcast instead of a live show. So I invite guests on, and they pick a movie, and we talk about it. And it's been really fun so far. I'm running out of movies, so I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm done. I thought we'd be out of quarantine by the time I got halfway through, but that is not the case. And now I only have like 10 movies left, and they're all stinkers.
What do you have left?
Oh, God. I have like all of his music videos because he's been in a lot. This movie called Arizona Dreams, which I've never even heard of. What else? Nobody wanted to do Alice in Wonderland until recently, which I thought was quite telling.
Was Alice in Wonderland a stinker?
I mean, the second one was a bona fide, like one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Wow.
And then had to like rewatch for this project because I'm a glutton for punishment. Nobody wants Mordecai. Go figure. That movie's terrible.
Watch Sleepy Hollow yet?
Of course, just in time for Halloween.
I like him in that one. He's always weird, but he was quirky in that one.
Yeah. That movie's fantastic.
Johnny Depp, I suppose.
So how's the podcasting going? Like, I know, so we're all like, obviously you're on a podcast, you're doing a podcast, everybody's podcasting. How's the podcasting going? How much of a transition is that from acting and producing in your own shows?
I mean, it's not that different from producing, I guess, because you're still a one-person band at all times. You are very aware of this phenomenon.
Hi, just checking my cell phone while we're talking.
So that you can do all the other things. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not that different from like creating your own work because that is what it is. But podcasting's weird because you're just not looking at anybody. Like I just talk into the void and I'm like, oh, I can do a million other things because I'm just talking about this movie I've seen. You don't have to watch me talk. Interesting.
So we went a little different direction with this one. We do have people watch us talk.
Well, that's right. Hello, people who are watching. Thank you for watching. My podcast doesn't have a visual component, so I do it in my jammies most of the time. That's a good thing. You can do it in your jammies.
Well, yeah, I'm doing the traditional jammies on the bottom, business on the top.
The Zoom uniform.
The Zoom uniform.
Yeah.
Also like bear claw bedroom slippers underneath their desk, James.
Yep. I mean, isn't that what you wear to drive the truck?
No, I wear boots and sneakers, but it's guys that wear pajama bottoms and like flip flops. And if I wear flip flops, people are gonna die. I'm not coordinated with those things, man. I'm just not gonna go well. So yeah, I'm gonna be on YouTube in the wrong way if I wear flip flops to the job. The greatest travesty of our highway, we've never seen so many bodies. No, I can't do that.
So where can we catch your podcast, Jenna?
Sure, you can catch it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere podcasts are found. Anchor, I believe it's also on. You can also find more info about me and about the show .com, JennaKuerzi.com.
If you paste that in the chat too, I will make sure it goes out to all the different comment boxes. And
sure. And then at Twitter and Instagram, sometimes I'll post stuff at less than a muffin. It doesn't mean anything. It's just my Instagram handle.
Awesome. So I will paste those URLs in the chat. And when's the next one? So who's your next guest? And
my
when's
next
your
guest,
next one?
yeah, is Langston Darby. He's an actor and an improviser. Used to be Philly-based, now he's in New York. We actually just recorded yesterday, and because next week is a very interesting week, it is going to be Funny or Die's Donald Trump's The Art of the Deal, because Johnny Depp is Monsieur President in that movie, so that'll drop next Monday, and there's a new episode every Monday.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the Coffee Break Chat, and we're going to get into it a couple minutes early. We're not usually this on time. I'm multitasking so much lately, doing a lot of activism, and it's a little crazy to try and manage productions and activism and all that. And Ardency, you've been doing activism too around your productions.
Yeah. We just closed hashtag All Lives Don't Matter. Getting ready and trying to figure out how to do the production, our next production, which is called Ain't Nobody, based on the African American spiritual Ain't Nobody Gonna Turn Us Around, which is a civil rights musical. So yeah, I'm a kind of activist kind of chick when it comes to my art. I think art is a form of protest. You know what I'm saying? It sends a clear message, in ways that other things can't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think that all artists are activists in some manner.
I don't think we can help ourselves.
Yeah. Been trying to keep people in their houses and stuff. Working with Philadelphia Unemployment Project. Jay's always Jay's a truck driver, but he's always artistic and activist on the internet as far as talking to our community. Jenna's original Johnny Depp piece is activist, talking about the late stage capitalism. Actually, it's one of the first times I really thought about late stage capitalism as a concept was going to your show.
That's exciting.
But yeah, I wanted to jump into the elephant in the city, the police department killing of Walter Wallace Jr. and the impact of that has been going on, and how that is a signal of late stage capitalism, really, too. Sorry. Sorry, my associate producer is communicating with me through text, and I'm not that great a multitasker, so I actually had to read it because it wasn't something I was expecting, you know, like how you get messages that you're expecting,
it has to
and you can...
before you're, like, finished your thought. And, oh,
yeah. No. So, yeah, Mr. Walter Wallace Jr., a resident of West Philadelphia, a black man, was near his home, apparently having a episode of, I don't know, I watched the video. It's one of the few videos of a police killing that I've watched, just because I get insanely angry when I watch these things. And watched this one just because I felt a responsibility to know what was actually going on. And watching it, the young man was having a rage incident, as far as I can tell. You know, who's as I'm sure all of us have had from time to time, had an incident where he was just out of his mind with rage. I've been there. I'm sure other folks have been there. And I've dealt with that personally. So I just wanted to say something that I said in text on Twitter and on Facebook. I've personally been in the situation where the cops have been. You know, I'm not, you know, like an official. I'm not. I'm just somebody that people call on for whatever reason. A lot of people call on me to solve problems. Call on me for leadership for whatever reason. I don't know what that is. But people do call me and say, hey, you know, I've got this situation going on. Can you come help solve it? So I have definitely run into people that I both know and don't know experiencing an incident where they are out of their minds with either rage or jealousy or what have you, wielding a weapon of some sort. I've experienced both guns and knives, so, you know, and I can tell you, as a person who's entered a situation where somebody is out of their mind with rage, or jealousy or anger or sadness, that it may feel like your life is in danger, but your life isn't in danger, especially if their friends and family are around. I'm obviously here, and I've never I've encountered more than a dozen of these type of situations, and I've never been injured. I've been threatened. I've had somebody point a gun directly at me and threaten to shoot me, but I've never had somebody actually injure me. I know that's not universal. I know that there's plenty of people who do this work, and they have been injured. You know, they're social workers or nurses or what have you, mental health care professionals, and they have gotten injured. But there's a large number of people who approach these type of situations on a personal and professional level, and they don't approach them by countering them with weapons. They approach them by countering them with...
Why they could get hurt.
Right, right.
They don't have weapons. He had a knife at a gunfight. They brought guns to a knife fight. You know what I'm saying? He had to get up close and personal, you know, in order to really injure them. He had to be right in their faces, and their training should have helped them to prevent them getting, and their body armor will prevent them from getting too injured. You stab an arm, you know, you're not likely to hit an artery. You might, but, you know, you do more damage going for organs. So if they had on body armor, that knife is not going to pierce through the body armor. So for them to fire upon him when he is that far away from them,
yeah, yep,
was unnecessary. And I was just, before I came on, there was I think it was in the Enquirer, a new article had just come out that his family said that they called for an ambulance, not for the police.
Actually, the police had been by the residence apparently about 3 times that day. And
so they knew something was going on.
Yeah, they were aware that something was going on. They had been there about 3 times, and they had left every time without doing anything, just because it was clearly a domestic issue and not something that they really wanted to get involved in. So the 3rd or 4th time that they came by, the brother had called specifically for an ambulance, and apparently had not. Was that request was not honored. They sent a police car. Speaking of incidents where I've been threatened, actually had a neighbor on my block with the same situation. This is about 2 years ago. Had a neighbor, I guess he was having a bad LSD trip or something. Running up and down the street, there was a construction truck, and he was taking little, like construction debris out of the back of his truck, back of this truck, and just throwing it all over the street, throwing it on people's cars, causing damage. And all our neighbors came out, and we were hesitant to call the cops, and it's just not something that in most black neighborhoods, which is the neighborhood I live in, that is the first thought. It's not the first thought. So we didn't call the cops for a while. And I think the breakdown point was when the man became a danger to himself. He hopped up in this truck and found a container that was marked with antifreeze, or had contained antifreeze. I don't know if it still contained antifreeze at that point. It's just he pulled an antifreeze container out of the back of a pickup truck and started drinking it. That's pretty dangerous. So we called for an ambulance. To my understanding, from this incident and others, they will send both an ambulance and the police. That's the Philadelphia 911's default, is to send both the ambulance and the police. And for whatever reason, in the situation of Mr. Wallace, they just didn't. They didn't send both those responses. They sent just the police multiple times. Yeah. There was an initiative. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but earlier this month, they embedded a mental health care professional in the 911 call center. And that actually happened like right around the 1st, I think. I don't know why that didn't work in this particular situation.
This feels like a model opportunity for that new implication, right?
Right, yeah, it feels like maybe they should have used that person to assess the situation, but
Yeah, that's what they're getting paid to do. I hate to put it like that, but yeah. Not the first day on the job, but here's your first test to see if this model, as is pointed out, works. Here's your test. And they forgot that person was there, I guess. So, all right.
So that's what's going on with that. And that has caused the police to riot. All the national news is covering the civil unrest in Philadelphia. We have a lot of people talking about how protesters are rioting in Philadelphia. I got to tell you, I've been covering it live stream on Twitter for my production company, and I've been covering it, pretty diligently, listening to listening to Police Bland Radio, watching everybody who has any sort of video out, and if I was on scene, I gotta say it's the least riotous situation that I've seen. I don't know about you all. I guess I'm a reactionary. I wouldn't be as calm as some of the protesters have been.
I also love how, like, all of a sudden in South Philly, because I'm like, miles away from the heart of the matter, but all of a sudden in South Philly too, they're like, gotta board up the Target. Walmart on Columbus. That's where they're going. It's like, this is a neighborhood grievance.
They even boarded up the Target at Broad in Washington, which
I don't know.
Nothing has ever happened here in Center City.
Well, I think that they're boarding up for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons that the boarding is going to happen in the next week. So
Yeah.
So
I think it's bigger than what I think that making it a national issue right now is a way to, like, be a primer for whatever happens in the next week.
Yeah.
They're looking for an excuse.
An excuse, exactly.
Yeah.
The Proud Boys, they're definitely going to riot if Serpentor doesn't get another term. So
Yeah. Should have bought stock in big boards like, at the beginning.
Like foam core. No, protesters don't use foam core. Why don't protesters use foam core?
I don't know. There's a lot of questions there.
If you don't know what foam core is, it's a thing we use in the arts. It's the boards that it's two pieces of paper basically pasted on the outside of a piece of foam, and it makes a poster, a really good poster. Chloroplast works really too. That's like the plastic version of cardboard, but yeah, I don't know why nobody uses foam core or chloroplast or anything, but anyway. I guess I got to consult on some protest productions.
Right. Yes.
Some boarding, yeah. They need all these unemployed theater artists in there to board up some windows.
Yeah.
We're cheap and we'll do it fast.
We are cheap and and it doesn't have to last long, guys. Let me tell you, as somebody who's built sets, it doesn't gotta last long. If you get something up that will last 3 weeks, I guarantee you it'll protect your glass, just as much as like the metal. So anyway, yep. So the I don't know if y'all were following along last night with in West Philly the police riots. The police, for whatever reason, decided to grip up a whole family out of their SUV as they were trying to turn around and avoid the police line. And just swarm this SUV and then smash in their windows and rip the family out of the SUV. I'm gonna see if I can pull up that video for everybody, but
While they were trying to leave the situation?
yeah, they were trying to leave. It was pretty clear that they were trying to leave.
And they just assumed they had some association with it?
The police, you mean? I have no idea what they assumed. They seemed to just assume that they could do this without with impunity. All right, here's this video. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna. Not sure how I can share it to you guys. Actually, I'll share it to you guys just with the URL, and I'll play it for the people watching on YouTube. Here's the URL for you guys.
Oh, God.
And let me pull up.
Why'd they just pull them out and start beating them?
Yes.
I just want to talk to you. I don't need to talk to you.
Display capture.
And these are a bunch of dorks.
That's a nice way of putting it.
That's the PG version of it.
Feel free to be not PG on this channel. I do mark everything as adult, but I'm gonna put this up on the screen right now. Hang on a second.
That's like,
Position, and I'll play it for everybody watching. So as you can see, there's a few vehicles there trying to turn around because the police line approached them. And there's that SUV. And they just get ripped out of their car.
and beat them for no reason. Just
So anyway, that's what happened last night. I've used Twitter to forward some of these incidents to the SIU, the Special Investigation Unit of the Philly PD. Not that they're necessarily going to do anything about it, but I guess it's worth a shot, right?
Yeah, might as well.
How they want to explain that?
I mean,
They're
they
not.
could say, I don't know, because somebody got,
nobody got hit.
no.
The line was coming for them. They were backing up. They
Yeah.
had the brake lights on. Nobody got out of the car. They opened the doors. They opened the doors. They started the fight.
I know. I'm trying to think of what they would even say at all.
And I understand. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that people's adrenaline is running and stuff like that. But
An excuse.
But that it's not. They're not the one. They did nothing to warrant that. I don't understand. So you can't be a. Don't be a. I guess you're just. Don't be a passerby. And don't be in the area of some. You become collateral damage.
Yeah, but it's like I'm not a trained professional, but growing up where I grew up, I've been in situations where I could have hurt people. but I chose not to because you have to, even when you're pissed off, even when you're as James said, raging, you have to put yourself in the mindset. Like, if I do this, A, B, and C are going to happen.
Oh, I understand.
That's not true. Understand that. So a person that has had training, riot training,
supposedly, yeah, that's my point.
Should have the know-how to not react like that. And if they don't understand that, you can't be a cop. Yo, as they say in the hood, your scary ass can't be a cop. It's that simple. I don't care how many of your brothers and your cousins are police officers. Sometimes these are like lineage officers. Maybe Tommy can't be a cop because he doesn't have the right mindset. He's going out there trying to keep score and not solve the situation. Preservation of life is supposed to be the main reason you become an officer. It's like the first line.
They did nothing to protect or serve that family in any way.
Yeah, protect and serve.
Protect or serve that family.
Right, and I said this as well online, which is, as somebody who serves the public, like, we all serve the public in some sort of way, and there's an element of risk to doing anything, and anybody who serves the public as like an actual public servant should realize that their personal health and safety is subservient to the public good that they're trying to do. If you're a public servant, if you're a police officer, if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, your personal health and safety is subservient to the greater good. Every individual. So somebody brought this up and was like, well, officers have to protect themselves. They're in danger. There's a man wielding a knife near them. They have to protect themselves. Yes, they have to protect themselves, but their individual health and safety is subservient to the greater mission, which is the health and safety of every other individual that's a member of the public that they serve. And I think that's where the disconnect has been happening. I think that's where all these white cops end up killing black people, because they don't consider the black people part of the public that they serve.
Yeah, and self-preservation, whatever that means.
Fearing for their lives has become the excuse to use to shoot at black people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you're that afraid of people you are supposed to serve, you shouldn't be serving those people. You shouldn't be in that job. I mean, I think part of it is, black people have become somewhat of an effigy for cops. They see black. When they go through their training, what do they shoot at? A black target. They get this mindset that whatever is black, it is the enemy. It has been ingrained in that culture.
You have someone in the highest office that has no concern for what's going on, that always sides with these officers, or one of the officers, every time the situation happens. It doesn't matter what the video evidence points to, 45 is always on the side of these officers and has no plan for police reform. So if you're voting for that piece of shit, remember that. I don't care about your tax breaks. Remember, he has no plans for your brown ass to be protected from police officers that act like this. None. He doesn't care. Remember that when you get your little tax break. Because every time I talk to people that support him that look like me, well, he's going to do stuff for the economy. I said, well, he's not going to do anything to protect your son, your mother, or you. If this happens, and it can happen to you in any neighborhood, I drive across this country all the time. It can happen anywhere. Anywhere. Because the person that's in charge does not consider you to be a human being. And he feel like that way before he became president. Way before that.
Way before.
And if you're unaware of that, you're out of your goddamn mind. If you're trying to tell me that you're unaware that this guy is racist before he became president, you have lost your damn mind. Clearly lost your fucking mind.
Yep. So, I mean, I'm running into I'm running into that too. I don't know. I don't know how this push is being successful right now. There's a lot of people who are publicly supporting, black voters for Trump. I heard on the news this morning. I heard a great one. It made me laugh. I had a good chuckle before joining the show. There was this reporter who was quoting one of the top surrogates for Trump at rallies and speeches, who's a black man who believes that people that there's a silent majority of black people who are actually going to vote for Trump.
Support for Trump amongst black men, allegedly by certain polls I've read in the Post and the New York Times, is up 56%. Y'all are out of your goddamn minds. He doesn't care if you live or die. He's not pro-life. He doesn't care if your wife, your sister, your mom, your grandmom get equal pay. The list goes on and on. He's a sexual predator. I can list his grievances all day long. And you're mad about a crime bill that Biden introduced in the 90s. That's no longer relevant. The crime bill has since been abolished. It's not even relevant anymore, you morons. And y'all keep bringing it up. So you want rock with the dude that has one offense or two offenses, or the dude that's constantly making offenses every day, every hour, every second. They both ain't shit, but come on, man. Really? BB gun, shotgun. I don't understand. I don't understand. Are you seeing something that I don't see? Is he magically going to Nation of Islam meetings when I'm not looking? Like, show me how he's for me. He has no plan in place for anything, according to what I've been reading and I've been studying, for black people. Nothing. Nothing. A conversation with Ice Cube don't make everything all good and rosy. You idiots. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm just saying. I don't understand. Enlighten me.
The big argument I don't understand as well is like people who are trying to say he's a good person.
Sorry.
In what world? In what world?
According to who? Satan?
Like, I don't understand. Trying to paint him as a family man or
What?
it's crazy. He's going to protect the Thanksgiving.
Because we don't speak crazy. I don't understand. You can look at the interaction with him and his wife just alone.
Yeah. And his kids and all of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one that I'm like, okay, tax breaks are one thing. Still bullshit, but one thing. Policy's one thing, but he's not a good person.
A wretched human being.
Like, that hasn't been a case since the 80s, the 70s, the 60s.
When I drive for Lyft, and I don't get on the subject of politics when I drive for Lyft, but it always seems to creep up. And I've heard from young people who have supported him. Most of them have been Anglo-Saxon or white.
Yeah.
And I just felt like we've had politicians try all this time. Why not try a businessman? Are you out of your mind? Listen, my barber is really good at cutting hair. Let's give him a shot as a neurosurgeon. No!
He's also not even a good businessman.
He's a horrible businessman.
But they were under that illusion. We now know the fact that he wasn't. He has put on an illusion. He's a great con man.
Yeah.
I'm going to give the devil his due. I'm going to give the devil his due. He's a great con man.
It's like I have the internet, they have the internet. They have Google, I have Google. I have known for decades that he is horrible. Decades. And I've been around before the internet. I knew about this from reading articles in Playboy, the New York Times, the Post. He's a horrible businessman. Horrible. You gonna trust this guy with the nukes? Really?
This discussion kind of came up in the latest podcast issue or episode that I recorded because we were talking about him so much because the movie was about him. It's like when people are a fan of politicians, that doesn't work. It's not the thing. Why is charm so important for our politicians? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then when you're a fan of somebody, you don't treat them like they're a public servant. And people are fans of him, which is
Okay, that was my next question. I was just about to go there. It's like,
because they saw him on TV, and it's like, okay, I see lots of people on TV. I wouldn't vote for them.
When you go to the Deep South, your Virginias, your Carolinas, parts of Georgia, the Midwest, I don't even think fans covers the cells. I have seen monuments to this man in people's yards, sitting on tractors, having him in suits around little baby doll kids. It is absolutely nuts.
How you doing, James? How you doing, bro?
Hey. So we have a guest. Please introduce yourself, your pronouns, what it is you do. And he wanted to drop some dimes about the incident in West Philly. Go ahead. Hello? All right, we can't hear you.
Be muted.
He's not muted.
now, we can hear you. Now, go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Now we can hear you.
Better? Okay. So I get it. Social injustice in America has been a problem for like 400 years. But if you want to add slavery on it too, it's been a problem. Now my question is this: they're not going to respect black people if we don't respect each other, and it is what it is. You know, white people have the advantage in the country, and it's just a fact. So my question is, they're not going to answer to what their faults are. They're going to answer to ours because, you know, if you really think about it, we take up the majority of the minority. So if you really think about it, they can do whatever they want to us. And my question is, why are all these black celebrities and all these people that are doing all this, like,
I'm sorry, I missed the last part of your question.
Which is the last part?
Yes.
Say it again.
The black part, he said something about all these black celebrities doing something and then it went out.
Yeah, I lost that last part.
all right, is it better? Hello?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Okay. So what I was saying is all these black celebrities, all these people we look up to, you see them donating all this money to charities, but we don't know where that money's going. Why don't you actually put your money in a bank account where everybody can just put okay, so imagine 47 million black people in America just get $100 and we all put it in a bank account. That's 400 million, right? So if we go and we do that for a whole year, already our spending power is like 1 trillion or 2 trillion. So my question is, why don't we open up our own shit, open up our own stuff, so then we don't got to answer to none of them. You never see a Chinese person on the side of the road asking for money because he already knows when he comes here, his family. But here's how though. Where in the hood does black people buy from? They buy from Chinese stores. They buy from Arabic stores. It's a fact.
That's a fact, but that's not true that you don't see Chinese people on the street begging.
I said you rarely see them. You rarely see them more than you see black people because black people have no leg to stand on. We don't have a foundation where you can go and come to us and we're going to hire you. We're going to give you a job. We're not going to do that for you because we don't even have that. So what are we going to start doing?
There are some folks who are doing that. I mean, I'm amongst the folks that are doing that. Ardency is amongst the folks that are doing that. You know, like there are black folks in leadership positions that hire exclusively within the black community or minority community in general. And I have to say, you know, like I'm one of the people that does that.
You're also negating the 400 years.
Salute to you, bro.
You're negating the 400 years when we have often, in our neighborhood, when we have often been, because you could look at Black Wall Street. And BlackAll Street wasn't in Tucson, and Tulsa wasn't the only place that was like that. There have been times in our history when we have had Ujima.
See, we had it, but the problem, but this is why we lost it.
We lost it because people come in and rob and steal from us.
Right.
People come in and burn us out. Anytime that we have made economic gain in this country, there has been historically, riots, people coming in and burning out those communities.
That's a fact.
So it has been negated. It has, I should say, it has been in many ways, it has been our lot to be the last.
That's a fact.
Okay, as part of that is still our slavery legacy, into a sense. So society has determined that we shall be the last. They let others come in who may not, from other places in the world, they get to be deemed when they come in as immigrants as white. And so that increases the white population. That's one of the things that happens, okay?
So
you
this is
also
the thing,
find that
ready?
those people have either ways to get banks, and a lot of people, we think people come over here, immigrants, and that they have nothing. A lot of these Chinese people, a lot of people from different countries, not just Chinese, come in, and they have relatives at home that also have generational wealth.
1 second. Hey, Sadiq, can you answer my question for me? And I would love to hear your response. How come black people will never ever understand that unless we understand each other and we work together and we start networking and just at least learn law and learn how the law school works, we can actually go within the system and make shit work for ourselves. We don't want to do that though. So why don't we do that?
I can't say we as a whole, because we there's no way you can generalize about a whole demographic, whole population. I am fully supportive of black people in business, in the arts, in commerce. I'm all for that. But what we're up against nowadays is that the message of unity, the message of family structure, the message of unifying for a greater good is lost, because a lot of times that's taught in younger generations and from birth. So when TV's raising your children, when love and hip hop's raising your children, when reality TV and music, when all the music of a generation, all the culture of a generation is nothing more than destruction. You don't talk about love in the music. You don't talk about love in your TV shows. We don't have anything wholesome on TV except maybe Blackish. That's one. But James' generation and my generation, her and the young lady also in the generation, we had Family Ties and The Cosby Show and Family Matters. Not that I'm saying TV is responsible. That's all by design. So if your main motto for now one of a generation of culture, and my generation is guilty of it too, I'm not blaming young people, is always self. When someone comes to you and says that we should unify, we should be on the same page, we should put our stupid differences to the side, our religion to the side, our educational differences to the side, our economic differences to the side, because we are being murdered right now. If all of a sudden the grid shut down and you had to scrounge for water and food, it wouldn't matter where you went to school in. It wouldn't matter if you were a supervisor at a major network. All that would matter is the preservation of yourself and the people you care about. But because it's not like that, and people have so-called rights and so-called privilege and so-called status, everybody, well, I can't say everybody, a lot of us are for self. You are 100% accurate in what you want us to do, young man. You're absolutely right. But it has to come from within. We have to stop begging for acceptance and strive for advancement. I don't care about the first photographer in Vogue if Vogue has been shutting breaks out for 45 years. I don't care about it. That's not strive. It's not leeway. Start your own magazine. Right? I don't care about the Emmys and the Oscars. Fuck the Emmys and the Oscars. Because half the movies y'all like, I don't even like myself. And if the director is saying something that Hollywood doesn't like, he'll never get recognized. It took way too long.
Sadiq, can I ask you something?
Sadiq, crazy.
How would that feel? How would that feel if in the next 30 years, people in Black America created their own land, and white people, whoever ever wanted to come down here, we have our own shit, so they can come down there. And if they wanted to live in our economy, we have an economy which is established by our terms, which are fair and which work for all people, not just one specific race that's biased against another and against all other races in America. Because again, America is not built for us. We just helped build it. So if we have our own shit in the next 20, 25 years or 50 years, we're good. But I don't see that happening unless, the rappers, entertainers, they quit following the narrative of like being oppressed and shit.
Small scale, but it's never going to get advertised, because I'm not going to bullshit you, man. The reason why we can't teach the things that make us great in this country is because pride yields unity. Unity means I'm going to step away from the dominant society. I'm not going to put my money in everybody else but my own. And I'm calling a spade a spade. The U.S. government is never going to allow that. It's never going to happen. They
And
can't teach
that's the point I was trying to make. We've tried to do that before. Historically, we have tried to do that before.
We've done it before.
We have not been allowed to do that.
Once you learn your greatness, I can't kill you on the
That's
street.
a fact.
I know how great you are. I can't do it. Me and James have been homies for years. I could never shoot James because that's my brother. Imagine that mindset if in an entire nation of people, the economy would fold. They're not going to let $3 trillion go back to Africa, a continent, or Uganda, or
we can't go back to Africa. We can't even go over there because it's already bought out. So we couldn't go there. We would have to buy different land. We couldn't.
That's a young brother. I'm telling you. I know people that are
CD, this is the thing about it, bro. We couldn't. Africa's not ours anymore. Listen, man, Africa's not ours anymore. We can't even go to Africa. Africa's not even ours no more.
You're right about that. You're right that Africa's not ours, but there are.
There are parts that want
like a lot of white people in America has already bought out half the land in Africa. Like if you watch the Diamond movie or any movies, they show African soldiers slaving their own people because white men in America are paying them lots and lots and lots.
Not
of
just
money.
America, white men from all over the world, white men from Russia, white men from China.
It's a Dutch-owned company.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but this is the historical systemic problem that I, one of the reasons why I created this, like, transitioned this to like a broadcasting, and I apologize if we don't get to all your questions, but I'm going to try and wrap it up in the next 4 minutes here. So, but the reason why I transitioned this to a podcast is because. And why I run my production company as a new media empire is that that we as Black people need to constantly strive to create our own representation within the existing structure that we have. The structure is systemically set up to deny us access. Deny us access through realtors, deny us access through policing, deny us access through education, deny us access through the taxation system. I could go on, and I've literally had episodes about all of these subjects, and I'll have more episodes about all of these subjects, but without changing where we are right now. We live here. And we don't have the clout to pick up and move our whole population as a whole. So we have to exist as a subculture. And existing as a subculture means that we have to do what will allow our culture to thrive within another culture. What's amazing about Black culture is that it penetrates and is so powerful that it overrides the popular culture of almost any society we touch. You look at popular music, you look at popular dance, you look at popular any sort of art. It's Black culture. You look at you even look at the world of theater, which, like Eurocentric people think of it as some sort of bastion of white knowledge, and it's not. It's Black culture. It's Black culture, and Black culture influences it all the time. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's because I am a media type person. I grew up in an artistic household. I grew up with artists. I think that is the way forward.
Artist, not gonna lie, you look like an artist. I can get that vibe from you. Yeah. That's my way forward. That's my way of influencing what happens in the future. I think that if we concentrate on that as a culture, if we concentrate on
making our culture known, making it clear that it is an advanced culture and that it is a culture that is desirable, that that it will continue to grow and continue to change the other cultures that we touch on. You know, we're have the whole abolish the police movement wouldn't have come about without the actions this summer of Black culture, and it's a small step in the grand scheme of things. Abolishing the police is a small step, but it is a key to approaching some of the systemic changes that we need to make. There's I was participating in an online discussion, and I'm gonna let you all respond to this in your own way, but and then we'll wrap up. But I was participating in an online discussion where a man who has worked as an MP, he's worked as a police officer, he retired from the military, and lives here in Philadelphia, was saying that, you know, it was trotting out the tropes that Black people commit crimes more than white people. And I've worked in a lot of different production environments. One of the key ones that I've done yearly for the last 10 years is the American Society of Criminology. This is where the people that actually study criminal actions and like learn from them and learn from the history of criminality, what is actually going on, they have acknowledged that as a group of scientists have acknowledged that all populations are equally likely to commit a crime. In any population, and yeah, that seems like common sense to all of us on this call, but there are people that truly think that Black people and brown people are more criminal, that we're more likely to
are born that way.
Oh yeah, we're born that way, that it's part of our culture.
Yeah, like you can even go back to the time where the house Negro was looked upon as, you know, you left your people in the strand, like you shunned your own people to go sell yourself out to the white man, and that's kind of how that self-hatred for one another started, just in that little instance of what that was.
You don't sell yourself
out. In America, I'm saying in America, not in general.
I'm talking to them about America. You were chosen to be a house Negro because of the lightness of your skin or because of certain abilities that you might have had that had separated you from the field nigga. Okay, and that was done not by the Black people themselves, but by their owners. You made it sound, the way you stated that, made it sound like Black people had a choice in that manner, and they did not. Yes, some found it beneficial being a house nigger. It made them closer to the white man, and so they could get certain benefits. They could get more. But oftentimes, it was a lot of those house niggers that was doing some of the work that needed to be done in order to make it possible for more people to escape. So understand your history. Okay? This is what I do. I'm a professor. I teach. This is what I do. I teach African American history. I teach theater. I teach art. That's what I do. And part of it, and my alignment, my PhD is in what's known as performance studies, which combines anthropology, sociology, history, in my case, theater, which is my art form, and that study and how that happens in performance and in society. So I had to study not just theater, but anthropology, sociology, American history, concentrating specifically in African and African diasporic performance style.
See, I want to ask you something. You understand that before we even had a first encounter with a white person, our race already was already in war with each other because of the tribes, and they would capture each other.
Wasn't?
And then when a white man finally came over, we would take we would let our own Black people go.
Who wasn't?
It's prisoners.
What culture
it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same.
You get that?
But it
that's like if I capture a whole bunch of. That's like if a whole bunch of white people capture each other. That's like if a whole bunch of white people capture each other while they're in war. Even though they're in war in their own place, they capture each other Then you have some black people come over, and then we take them because they're just prisoners of war, and then we have.
They did that all over Europe.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
They did that all over Europe. They did that.
They would capture each other.
Yeah.
You know,
We were at war with each other, so we captured each other, and by the time the white man came over, he was going to create America, and we gave up our own people. That's how we gave up our own people.
Yeah, but okay, so you're talking about tribal and the tradition of slavery and tribal infighting, which so I'm gonna let you research this a little bit, but and you might get a little lost, and I apologize for just kind of dropping you in here, but if you look at the actual history of what we now call the Middle East, and you look at specifically the Pharaonic era, you'll discover that tribal African cultures interacted with European cultures in what is now Egypt a lot during the Pharaonic era, and even past that into what is considered by Europeans as ancient Rome and ancient Greece. So during those interactions, a lot of what you're talking about happened even then. So white tribes would have wars with each other. Black leaders from Egypt, Lower Egypt Upper Egypt, because it's not north-south. South is Upper Egypt, right. North is Lower Egypt. So in Upper Egypt, it was led by black men, and black men would come to Lower Egypt. They would trade for slaves, and they would trade gold, and they would trade spices.
All throughout the Mediterranean basin. From all the
That's a fact. That's a fact. It was both ways, but one of them just conquered better than the other did, because we didn't come to have you, work for us and then that's just it for the rest of your life. It's like, okay, well, when we did it in small amounts of numbers. We didn't take a whole fucking pack of village and people. That's not,
because we didn't have the slavery. It was not the same type of slavery, and so that's the other thing you have to get through your mindset. The American form of slavery, as Lincoln put it, was a peculiar institution, even in comparison to when you look at slavery on a historical manner. No one in history had done slaves the same way they did here in the Americas. It was not the same.
Right.
And so that's part of it, because slavery has always existed, but there was always mechanisms even within that system for people to become free at some point or another. That was not the case in the Americas, and that was by design.
True.
So I'm gonna leave it off with Dr. Hall's assertion there, because it is absolutely correct, and I really appreciate Dr. Hall for joining us this week and being able to bring her education and understanding to this discussion. It is 11:08 a.m. on my clock here, and we got to wrap up. So I apologize for cutting this very, very informative discussion short, but I unfortunately have to go try and help people save their homes, fortunately or unfortunately.
Brother, if you have any more questions you want to build, man, I'm always available. Reach out to me if you want to talk some more. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, man, I got you, bro, because I see that you're on the road right now, so.
Yeah. So,
knowledge is power, brother.
Yeah, and all of the folks on this chat, we all talk because that's an important part of society, is talking and being able to transfer knowledge between each other and being able to learn from one another. So I'm just going to wrap up here. I really appreciate you all for joining me today. Sorry, my throat's a little scratchy.
That's my number, homie. If you wanna give me a call and talk about this just a little bit more, put it in the back chat.
All right, cool. I want to thank my guests. I'm sorry I never caught your name. Our calling guest, what's your name?
Nerva.
Nerva, thank you for joining us. I want to thank Jenna Kuerzi, Less Than a Muffin on Instagram and Twitter. I want to thank Dr. Ardency Hall Karambe and Jay Sadiq El, who join me regularly. They're regular guests. And I just want to encourage you to tune in next week. We have conversations like this every Wednesday, 10 a.m., live. As you see, you can join the conversation here on Zoom. Just got to get in touch with me, and I will have you on as a guest. We talk about topics ranging from arts to culture to what's going on right now. I want to say that what's going on in West Philly right now is important, and that everybody should be paying attention. And our representatives in government, Philly government has a lot of African American representation, a representation of the Black community, that the executive part of Philly government is not representative, and I would like to encourage the executive portion of Philly government to control your police officers, please, and stop attacking our people, and start providing the services that we need to survive and thrive. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to the YouTube channel or the Facebook, Light Thief Productions on YouTube and Facebook. We have a Patreon to make this all possible. I would like to pay our guests, and especially our guest speakers, so please donate. I would like to throw a shout out to one of our new insider patrons. For $5, we have a patron level that will get you a shout out on the channel, and so I would like to shout out our patron. Let me pull her up. Sorry, I even know who it is, and I'm spacing on the name. But patreon.com/LightThiefProductions. And I will give the shout out in a text. There we are.
Salute to the supporters. Salute the
supporters. Yes, thank you. Oh, there it is. Minu Pushrati. Minu is an actor here in Philadelphia, and really support her work and love her to death. Amanda Sylvester Altieri, also an actor and producer here in Philadelphia. But so support independent media. You know, you can hop on there for $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you want, whatever you got, and help us continue to get out the message of our culture. So thank you once again, everybody. Really appreciate everybody joining us this week. Tune in next week, 10 a.m. Wednesday morning, and hope to see you all again. Really appreciate you joining us.
See you guys. Thank you, Black Queen. Appreciate that. All right, Jenna. All right, James.
Thank you.